I'm telling you.
I kind of wish this was more than a best of 7. I'd love to watch these guys play all day, man. But that's not gonna happen, sadly.
Hey man,
sadly
coLqxc, he's had his share of best of 30s, I think, if I remember correctly. Like he definitely played in one, right? Like against Cats.
Yeah. I think he had a few long games with Cats actually.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, they had like a best of 27 or 31 or something like that.
Imagine
he did it.
that
He did it.
That'd be so much fun. But yeah, man, this is gonna be game number 2 between the two players. In the bottom left-hand location, the purple Terran player coLqxc from Team coLqxc. Control N, please line up. Yes, it does. And NightEnD changed his color, so I have to change him to blue. Of course, the top right-hand location, we have the blue Protoss player NightEnD from Fnatic Raid Call. And Fnatic Raid Call, let's talk about them for a second. They're looking pretty damn good, man. They just picked up Oz.
Yeah, I agree.
They're playing in the GSTL next season. What?
Yeah,
Fnatic?
things are going good for Fnatic, man. Do you remember when a few players left the team? Unfortunately, they weren't.
TT1.
They weren't in the best
Phoenix,
position, but
Xeris,
Kawhi Rice. Yeah. Look at them now, man.
I think
doing it
NightEnD,
big.
he's been strong. He's still. I think he's like one of the only ones that's stuck through Fnatic.
I think he was like the original one to join after all those people left. I think you are correct.
He's gotten so good, man.
Yeah.
He's gotten so good.
I agree.
Ooh,
he's like
look at
ranked
this.
35 on the Korean ladder, but yeah, coLqxc, man.
He's taking a gas, man.
There's a gas. So this is interesting.
It
This
is.
obviously means he's going to go for a tech. Given the fact that he opened up with a very early gas, the question is, what kind of tech is it going to be?
And how is NightEnD gonna react?
Yeah, that's a good question as well.
Like, if you're a Protoss player and you see that gas, like, honestly, especially on this map, you're like,
You're
hey,
probably
wait a
thinking,
second.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Wait a second. Not only did you let me in your base, but you have a gas on Daybreak where the rush distance is like a 5K. It's ridiculous. When the Marines get across the map, they're exhausted. They don't want to shoot the Protoss. They want to
just
get a drink
sit
of
and
water.
relax.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, we are talking about coLqxc a little bit earlier, and how much he's been impressing us. Ooh, factory. Is that gonna be scouted?
NightEnD.
I think he can scout it. He can out micro this Marine.
Oh,
If
coLqxc
he wraps
micro,
around,
man.
and
But,
now
I mean, I think he might. He might actually scout it. Okay, please, NightEnD, scout it. Okay, no. Oh my God, he did not scout the factory. That is huge.
We keep like not touching on this thought. I mean,
It was so close though.
I'm trying to like emphasize this point. coLqxc's not in school anymore. He's here to play, and he's showing a show match to us. But yeah, man, let's talk about that factory opening. Are you surprised that coLqxc left it so close?
You mean where he positioned his factory?
Like, he built the factory when his opponent was in there. He let his opponent see his gas.
I mean, it's very obvious he doesn't want him to scout it, which is why he was microing the Marine. The Marine's
so
heart out,
weird.
you know.
I just don't understand it, man. Why would you leave it that close? But he does have 2 Hellions on the way, and this is good against expansion builds. NightEnD, same build as last time, opening up with the 2 gases, only 2 probes on each gas, and there's that expansion.
And this is a build you see on the Korean server a lot from Terran players. A lot of Terrans actually use Hellions in TVP to put on early aggression.
This game?
I don't know if he's going to follow up with mech, but Hellions are good early on against Protoss, especially against a 1-gate expand. You're going to be very much relying on Stalker and Sentries, which Hellions are not, they're not good against them, obviously, but they can sneak around, get into the mineral lines, do a few probe hits, and take out a few Harvesters. But coLqxc is expanding behind this. Command Center is on its way. It looks like he's also getting the barracks added to a tech lab. Additional Hellions on the way. So coLqxc, staying very committed to the Hellions. The SCV gets in the main. Does he scout what there is? He does see the 2 gateways. He knows everything that NightEnd's doing.
Yeah, and Hellions are pretty darn good against Protoss, especially when they're fast expanding. What are you going to do against them? Sentries are no good unless you get money force fields down. Stalkers is the unit of choice, but if the Hellions can run by, like the DPS from Stalkers isn't incredible, so the Hellions can easily run by. But I think NightEnD has he has an idea that this is going on. Look at the positioning of his units on his ramp. It's like that's just telling me that he wants to wall that out. He just like does not want anything running by. So I think NightEnD has a feeling that this is coming, and that's 6 Hellions. And if these Hellions can get into the main,
it's gonna be a
game
lot of trouble.
over. Seriously, not even kidding. If 6 Hellions get into the main of a Protoss at this point in the game, the Protoss better have phenomenal micro to be able to hold it off. But here coLqxc goes.
He is moving in, and take into consideration there's a few units here in the main, but the probes are getting transferred into the natural. Oh my God, this is not good at all for NightEnD. Lining up the probes, not the best thing you want to do against these Hellions, and that actually...
Oh, he's going to lose a sentry. Oh no!
That is so good for coLqxc. He killed so many probes, even got a few sentries, even gonna get another one. Okay, force field goes down. So he loses another sentry, And with that being said, Harvester advantage, guys, is way in the favor of coLqxc. 26-21 of NightEnD. Now, NightEnD does have a few units on the map. He does have a good amount of Stalkers, getting his robotics facility, getting the Observer on its way. And he has the expansion, but coLqxc has his as well. He's going to go ahead and try to float it over, getting Stim on the way, added additional barracks back home, getting a few tech labs onto there, lifting up starports, getting medevacs. coLqxc, he knows his follow-up, and it's going to be...
Yeah, I think he has a timing here. When you kill 3 sentries at this point, like, guess what? The Protoss is going to have to remake those, and guess what? The sentries are going to have to wait for that energy for the force field. And guess what? The natural expansion here, the choke leading to it, you need force fields against Marine Marauder. So I do expect, I would be very surprised if coLqxc didn't try to push, like, right now.
Maybe, man. I mean, he is getting it 2 bunkers, so maybe he might be... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, if you think about it, like coLqxc, he knows how much damage he did, and as a Protoss player, if you lose 2 sentries and like 10 probes, most Protoss, a large majority of the time, a lot of Protoss players, they're just gonna straight up counter, make a bunch of Stalkers, and try to kill you. So coLqxc first, you know, trying to make sure that isn't happening, and then I expect him to push out.
Yeah, but, you know, something that's very interesting is the Harvester advantage is actually in the favor of NightEnD. 34 probes to 33. So even though he did a lot of damage, NightEnD is still not out of it by any stretch. He is down in supply, but Harvesters right now are even, and he's going to get a robotic space, so this might be a Colossus follow-up, and there is actually the push that you're talking about. Now, the thing is he going to drop in the main, which is a very good possibility. coLqxc will do that. He loves dropping in TVP. Or is he going to go for a 2-pronged attack, which is something, again, he loves doing. There is a drop being loaded here into the medevac. Going to drop into the main. And NightEnD, is he ready? He has a few Stalkers in position. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Dropping in a few Hellions. Okay, these Hellions are going to die from coLqxc. Might actually do a little bit of damage, but he is moving into the natural, as you said. And coLqxc so good at being at 2 places at once.
Yeah, you can do this as Terran, dropping those Hellions in the main, bringing his bio to the natural expansion. And again, how does NightEnD deal with this? Like, there's no sentries. He's going to use his probes to try to soak some of that damage up. Going to lose a lot of those. 75 to 47 is the Harvester lead for coLqxc right now. And Colossus is going to come out. That might be the saving grace for NightEnD. Not if coLqxc targets it down. Is this robotics going to go down? It's going to fall. And no coLqxc, no Colossus is going to come out. And there's the GG from NightEnD. coLqxc. Quick 2-0. Wow.
This is crazy, man. Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm just going to say it. I don't think I didn't know it was going to be a quick 2-0 lead for one player. I honestly thought it was going to be a 1-1, and then we start going into the 2-1s, the 3-1s, then the 4-1s, or maybe the 4-2s, the 4-3s. I can go ahead and make like 50 million references to those numbers, but coLqxc is ready. coLqxc he's not kidding around, man. He wants that $100. Currently had 2-0 against NightEnD.
That play was so good. Yeah. You know, but God, what, like, really, it's like, my head is, like, a little bit, it's hurting a little bit, because NightEnD, like, it appeared like he was completely ready, right? He had his Stalker and his Sentry on his ramp, chilling on his ramp. Now, you could say, okay, sometimes they'll do that against Bio. I mean, but, like, that seems like a great position to defend against Hellions. There were times when coLqxc was just running around the map with Hellions. I feel like if NightEnD had a probe out there to like see it, like he just had to send 1 probe just to his opponent's side of the map, and he would have seen the Hellions. He would have been able to be better prepared. Maybe not even send his probes to his natural, and just focus on preventing the run by and keeping his sentries alive. But honestly, once you lose those three sentries that early in the game, it's like so difficult.
Basically almost
it's
game
so
over,
difficult to come back. The only option you have, which coLqxc knew, is all right, directly counterattack as a Protoss. All right, so we're gonna take a break.
You know what? Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I got something to note.
All right.
That's so smart from coLqxc. If you note, sentries and Stalkers are good against. They're not good, but Stalkers are pretty good against Hellions, right? You can deny Hellions by Stalkers. With Stalkers.
It's still
now if you take into consideration the composition coLqxc followed it with.
Yeah.
He went Hellion Marauder.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so Hellions are good against sentries.
Sure.
Marauders are fantastic against Stalkers. Now, NightEnD was using mainly Stalkers and Sentries to defend. So just think of the thinking that's going on in coLqxc's head. He's like, okay, this guy's going Stalkers and Sentries. I'm going to make Marauders and Hellions, which are basically the direct counter to that composition. Yeah. That's exactly what he did. He accompanied it with a few medevacs, dropped the Hellions in the main, and
that
just...
was key.
Yeah, and he had Stim, so he had basically the exact composition against what NightEnD was doing. All he had to do was try to get the Colossus.
Honestly, like, again, once you lose the Sentries, how do you hold anything?
It's hard,
You need those force fields. It's so important. Because then what's to stop the Terran player from just stimming and killing you, right? You gotta have those force fields to delay. But we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be into game number 3. My name is Axel, joined by Promise. That's not his picture. That's just I googled Promise, and that's what came up because his webcam isn't available. But we'll be back after a quick break for game number 3 between QXC and CSN. Is QXC gonna 4-0 CSN? Leave your predictions in the chat, and we'll see y'all in a bit. Game 3 coming up. QXC against CSN. QXC currently up 2-0. Who's going to take it? CSN has some work to do. Best of 7, first to 4 wins. Game 3 between QXC and CSN. Alright guys, welcome back to the CSN Show Match Series. This is week number 3 of this fun, awesome idea, event, whatever you want to call it. And
Allstars.
We're Allstars. Well, there you go. And we are in game number 3 between, spawning in at the middle right-hand location, the blue Protoss player. CSN from team Fnatic'RC. His opponent in the middle left-hand location of Antigua Shipyard. It's the purple Terran player, QXC from team coLqxc. And yes, that is the correct score at the top. QXC is in fact up 2-0. CSN has some work to do. And CSN picking the map of Antigua. What do you make of it? Promise. Hit me with the knowledge.
Thanks for putting me on the spot,
I want to hurt. Slap me with that knowledge.
It's an interesting decision. Now, okay, you know what? Actually, I think it's gonna favor a little bit for QXC. Reasons are being, Antigua Shipyard is a good map for Protoss versus Terran. It's good for TVP. The thing is, there's a lot of airspace between your main, between your natural, and the third, where drops can be so good. Now, think if it goes towards the later stages of the game, maybe to early mid-game, you're gonna have your units towards the natural, towards the third.
Yeah.
You're kind of gonna have them there. Now, think if QXC dropped some medevacs into the main. That's a pretty long area to go to try to defend your main. And this is definitely something that's gonna favor QXC, given the fact that he is very aggressive in TVP. He does do a lot of medevac drops, and the question that's going to come into consideration here is if CSN is going to be able to properly split his units and defend against these drops, as well as continuing to macro up back home.
Interesting analysis. Kind of like it. Now, this is interesting. CSN knows exactly what his opponent is doing for the first time in this series. I mean, game 1, he didn't know about the Marines that came, but he was able to fend that off pretty quickly and could probably identify what his opponent did, and that gave him a cushion. So he decided to use that cushion to go for the fast coLqxc, but QXC just stuck to the bio play and just dropped everywhere.
Yeah.
But CSN sees this expansion, and you know, why did he choose this map? Why did he choose this map?
He has to have something planned.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, he has a build in mind. He has a specific build that he's practiced. He knows the Terran player, that Terran players really like going for the fast expand build on this map, so he has something in mind here, I feel. And oh my god, he's bringing 4 probes and a zealot. These probes think that they think they're SCVs. Promise. What are they doing out in the middle of the map?
I was just gonna say, man, we're having a TBT going on here between CSN and QXC. Okay, too bad probes can't build bunkers. Imagine if probes can build bunkers.
Them cannons,
this would be
man.
Game over. But there's no forge.
I
It's
know.
not gonna happen.
Leave me alone. You're right.
But QXC is like, what the hell? Why are these what are these probes doing here? Are they gonna kill my command center? Of course not. They better not, or else I'm terrible.
No,
but I mean, Yeah, the Zealot and the Probe, this is a really interesting decision.